But anyway, so getting on into, I guess we should get into some like Saturn news, or talk at least.
Should we?
What we have, that which we have, if you want to, or we could just keep shooting the shit.
I don't know, man.
I really don't have
whatever.
much to contribute in terms of like Saturn related stuff going on this week, other than testing Netlink stuff and failing.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so we have an article from our beloved writer Peter. By the way, Peter has been limited in his ability to contribute with SHIRO just because he's been doing school and it's been brutal. That and work and then being a dad and everything like that has been absolutely brutal. So he's been doing most of his articles ahead of time or in advance, and those that he has posted have been kind of limited. We've mostly been seeing these best of Saturns from Peter. But the cool thing is apparently he finished school and he's on at least a little bit of a break. So we may see some more articles from Peter, and that's exciting. Also, he had some time to play his Saturn yesterday, and he was happy about that. So I'm glad to hear that Peter's getting a break, a much-needed break. And
everyone seems to be really busy besides me nowadays.
Yeah, it's just it's killing me. I'm under a real squeeze in terms of available time, but I know it's not going to be that way forever. So I'm just trying to get through it, push through it. But I'm glad that you're there.
I'm just trying to hold the fort.
You're holding the fort. You're holding down the fort, and we've got our other. We've got our extended SHIRO family on our in the Discord, folks doing cool stuff and able to chat with you and stuff like that when I'm not there. So hopefully you'll have a nice chat going on for the second hour. But anyway, NHL All Star Hockey 98. Do you like hockey games? Have you played this game, Pat?
I don't like hockey games, and no, I have not played it. Even though I probably should have.
You seriously don't like any kind of, you don't like hockey on the NES or any of that stuff? You don't like foosball?
I don't like hockey games, but I do like hockey, the sport.
You like the sport? Okay. Well,
and it's kind of funny because Peter actually featured one of my teams on here too.
Yeah, and what's that? Which team is that?
The Phoenix, or now known the Arizona the Coyotes.
I gotcha. Okay. Well,
so yeah, I didn't know if that was intentional or not, or.
I can tell you that this is probably one of the best. It's funny. For me, it's between this and Power Play 96 on the Saturn, which incidentally are both by the same company. They were both made by Radical Entertainment. It's just that for 98, Sega didn't have their own hockey game being made, I guess, just because we all know the story by 98. So they ended up just buying the license. They ended up just saying to Radical, approached Radical and saying, hey, we want to just slap our name and franchise on your game. So instead of it being Power Play 98, it ended up being just the Sega, All Star Hockey. And you can see on the rinks and stuff like that, maybe not in these shots, but you can see on the rinks, see they've got the Sega Sports logo there and the Saturn logo, but there in the background on that middle image, you can kind of see Radical, their logo there. They were able to sneak that in to make sure folks knew that they made the game. But yeah, this is actually one of the best playing. It's very smooth. It's a little arcadey compared to I would say that for folks who do enjoy sports games or hockey games, if you played the EA game NHL 98, that's very sim heavy. It's very thorough. You can do a lot. It simulates the game very well, but the performance is garbage, in my opinion. Even though maybe it looks a little shiny, the performance is garbage. Whereas this game runs really, really smooth, feels very arcadey. It's a lot of fun. I think even you might enjoy if you booted this up and played an exhibition game. You'd take to it right away. The controls are easy, and it's actually a lot of fun. But
and the cool thing about Radical, I guess, for those of you that don't know, they not only did a bunch of sports games, but also did stuff like Simpsons Hit and Run, Crash Tag Team Racing, and the Prototype series.
That's right. And
I think they are shut down as of now, though.
They did, for some reason, and I'm not. They did a few other games on the Saturn, but I'm not. They're not coming to mind. And if anybody wants to throw that in the chat, I would appreciate. Maybe you can look it up on Sega Retro or something like that, but I don't have a keyboard in front of me. But essentially, They did a few other games for the Sega Saturn. They're just not coming to mind at the moment. But definitely they did the best hockey games on the Saturn. Peter did like a really, really extensive article on Sega Saturn SHIRO, just talking about all of the hockey games on Saturn, which there were a few. And he lined them all up and he did like extensive reviews for them and then gave them like a score. And I know it was this one, I believe, that came out on top. And really, 96 Power Play 96 is a really good game, but this just kind of like improves on a few things and like tightens up the bolts a little bit. Adds, obviously newer rosters and stuff like that. So anyway, if there is a hockey game that if you want to play one hockey game on the Saturn, this is the one I recommend for sure.
Yeah, and I actually have a funny story about this game, actually.
Go ahead.
So I was going to get blood for like a routine blood test, and I was talking in the office to some guy, and he was telling me that he actually worked at Radical Entertainment for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
You actually ran into a guy that worked at Radical Entertainment?
Yeah, I was sitting down waiting to get my blood drawn. Usually I am very anxious around doctors and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So usually to not freak out and have an anxiety attack, I'll talk to somebody just to kill the tension, and he was just sitting there and we talked a little bit.
Oh,
I thought it was kind of a funny coincidence.
Yeah, that is, and that was in Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that's awesome, Pat. I'm actually reading Paul's comment that he has it and doesn't tend to like sports games, but do you like it? That's the question. Because you said you had it. You don't like sports games, but do you like this one, or do you just kind of find that you don't play it?
Probably just the latter. I
mean, honestly, I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to like my music taste. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to my gaming taste as well. And I do love good sports games that are fun to play and kind of encapsulate the spirit of the sport. I'm not a big hockey fan, to be completely honest with you. I could play baseball games all day, every day. Almost any, if it's half decent, I could play it. And I could get into it because I'm like a huge baseball fan. But I'm not a big hockey fan. So the fact that I was able to get into this and play it and have fun, I think is a testament to how well the game is made. Because I could literally care less when it comes to hockey. And I'm sorry to like Peter and all those Canucks that like care about it a lot. I just don't. I'm from California, right? So like we have ice rinks. But I'm like, why do we have ice rinks down here? It's like, imagine the amount of power waste that they have to pump in there just to keep those ice rinks frozen. But
fair enough. But a quick question why California has the Padres anyways, but
say what now?
A question why California has the Padres, but
So why do you question that? Sandy, they're doing great.
Why do they continue having such an awful team? That's my question.
What rock have you been under? They're like doing amazing.
Right.
Slam Diego. Seriously, like they're hitting home run. We've got heavy hitters now. Pat's right. We have not won a World Series. Okay, so
you just hit your full. It just recently got a full. Was it a full run or whatever?
Hit for the cycle. Well, yeah, we had a guy hit for the cycle recently. I think last year we had a dude, and I forget his name. Darn it. We had a young kid who basically pitched like the crown or what is it where you basically are able to get like I guess it's just like a perfect game basically.
It's like a full hitter or something. Is that the name of it?
Not a single run, not a single hit, not a single error, but essentially if I'm you see me wearing this hat, it's because I'm a real fan. I'm a real Padres fan, even though we've had several bad years. And I'm no front runner. I'm not gonna go pick a team that's like really easy to be a fan of. I
think he's calling me out because I like the Yankees.
No, there's nothing wrong with liking the Yankees. There's nothing wrong with legitimately liking the Yankees. The Yankees have,
to be fair,
I don't like it if people are like, oh, I'm gonna like baseball. Who should I like? Oh, I'm gonna like the Yankees because they're you can find a hat at every Walmart, and it's like so easy to be a Yankees fan. But I mean, honestly, if you're like a legit Yankees fan, I'm not gonna fault you, or if you're a legit Dodgers fan, I feel sorry for you, but I'm not going to fault you.
I'm like giving you grief. I do respect the Padres a lot. I don't think Arizona really has a rivalry with the Padres.
part of being a Padres fan is having a thick skin and being able to take grief, because that's pretty much what people do is give me
exactly.
grief.
Don't worry. I understand as a Diamondback fan. I'm kind of used to.
Yeah, no, I became a huge Padres fan actually in the early 2000s when I moved here, and they were all pitching. You know, it was just like all shutouts and not a whole lot of hitting. So it was very scrappy baseball. They were never like a phenomenal team. They were just like really consistent. And then like they went through this decade drought where it was just terrible. And we lost our football team, as a lot of people know. And that was kind of, so I just kind of had to hold on to what we had left, which was the Padres. So yeah, I'm a hardcore Padres fan, and they're doing great now. So, but also the Giants and the Dodgers are doing great too. So here we are talking about baseball during a hockey article.
I don't know. I was gonna segue to say that how I think a lot of sports games are kind of throwaway. It's kind of like how I feel about mahjong games, where it's like, yeah, I could play mahjong on this console, but I could probably play a better one on anything else.
That is such a mistake. That is such a mistake that gamers make, myself included. Okay, like we often think that because sports games are released every year, they're kind of like. Like I tell my wife, you know, I have the original Sega Saturn magazines, you know, and she doesn't know why I have them or why I'm holding on to them, you know, because to her, they're just like magazines. And she gets like the gourmet magazines, you know, every month, you know, and she tosses them, right? I'm like, your magazines are worthless because there's like thousands of issues of gourmet. They release a new one every month, and not, you know, there's going to be a turkey issue every Thanksgiving, you know, but it's like there are literally like 30 issues of official Sega Saturn magazine. There never will be any more, and there's a limited quantity of it. It's priceless to me, you know. It's like gaming history, right? But there are some. So I think that in the same way, gamers have a tendency to be all about the platformers, the scrolling shooters, the fighters. When we look at a sports game that's not like Neo Turf Masters or something, we just think it's a throwaway game. Now that's not true. It's true. I would say it's true for at least like 50% or more of the sports games. But every once in a while, you find a sports game by a talented team of developers that has like a unique story. And I think that this is one of those. Radical Entertainment with their Power Play series is good. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to get on a soapbox and tell you need to like explore more of the sports games on the Saturn, because it has some good stuff to offer for sure. And
we should put you a non-throwaway sports games cast.
We should. We definitely should. And I mean, like, I would love to proselytize the whole like love of sports games more to folks, because there's a lot of good games out there. I mean, there are some excellent football games on the Dreamcast, the 2K series.
Oh excellent. Yeah, no, the 2K series is godlike.
They're great games. They play well even today. I mean, obviously the graphics have been long since superseded, but here's the thing. There were a lot of terrible 2K games in the late 2000s or the early 2010s, you know, that were just throwaway titles because the quality went downhill. Yeah, the graphics were better than what they had on the Dreamcast, but the gameplay wasn't as solid. And I would say the same of, I don't know, like 989 Studios used to make great games. And then also the EA actually made some really good games in the early 2000s. Like they made a good baseball game. 2005 was a really, really solid one. That was the one with Martinez on the front. And then it just, you know, so not every sports game is created equal. But folks should definitely try. If you're a Saturn fan and you're looking for extra stuff to play and you've avoided sports games, you might as well give it a shot. Anyway, that's my soapbox. I'm really sorry to everybody who had to listen to this, but
yeah, if you want a console with pretty much every good sports game, get the Neo Geo. Literally, I don't think there's a bad sports game on there.
And that's the thing is, Neo Geo is going to give you a lot of arcadey sports, and it's so much fun playing, the Baseball Stars Professional, and Baseball Stars 2. Those games are so much fun. The Windjammers and the Turf Masters and all that stuff. Yeah, is excellent
baseball
fun.
Games. Yeah.
Excellent fun, but I mean, there's good golf games out there that are more of the Simvra. I mean, like we like Pebble Beach golf links. I think we can all agree that that's pretty fun,
Yeah.
And it's
everybody golf on the PlayStation.
Yeah. For me, it's got to be on the PlayStation. It's what's that Keystone series? The one that was,
Hot Shots?
Hot Shots, yeah. Hot Shots
Yeah,
on the
Everybody Golf.
PlayStation.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Is that an alternate?
That's the name of the Japanese
That's
series.
the
Everybody
Japanese
Golf.
series. That's right. Okay. All right.
They changed the name of it, but yeah, Hot Shots / Everybody Golf. They actually just recently normalized it internationally, so it's now known as Everybody Golf. But yeah, Hot Shots / International Everybody Golf is a fantastic golf game.
It really is. And I mean, yeah, it's a little arcadey, but it does do a lot of the simulation style stuff as well. So, anyway. Play sports games, guys. Try them. The bowling game that I played, the 10-pin alley, I really enjoyed that on the Saturn. Guilty pleasure, I will admit. And I even enjoyed some of the fishing stuff, like in small doses. It didn't cost me anything. I have a satiator. I just load it on there and give it a go. And it's fun, So there's a lot
fun with that bass fishing.
If you just make it if you just make it like a personal habit to just avoid all sports games, then I would say that you're missing out on at least a handful of good games. So next up, we have a retrospect. Oh yeah.
Oh, do you have a word?
Yeah. I've been looking for a way to butt in, but you guys have been talking nonstop. Yeah, you asked a question earlier about Radical Entertainment. I think they deserve a little bit of recognition for their history. So on the Saturn, besides the 2 NHL games, they made Grid Runner Independence Day.
That's it.
But what you might be more interested in later on down the line is that they ended up making Dark Summit. I don't know if anyone's into that. Simpsons Road Rage and Hit and Run.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned that earlier.
Pat mentioned that, yeah.
Okay. Along with the Prototype series, which is what put them under, but was massive at the time.
Yeah.
I remember that it was an ongoing joke that they had Prototype and Infamous at the same time, and everyone was joking it's the Magic City Man genre game.
Yeah, just where you just fly around and do crazy stuff.
But yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people kind of preferred Prototype over Infamous in some cases.
Infamous was
Mostly
the dude
'cause
with
of
the
Pro,
electricity,
yeah.
right? The going around shocking people and stuff, or...
I think it was Infamous.
There's 3 games like that. There's Infamous and Prototype, and I think Cracked or Crackdown or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all came out at the same time. It was like when Bug's Life and Ants came out at the same time. You're just like, wait, which movie is it? Yeah, I got those things confused at the same time,
I do think Crackdown was my favorite out of all of them. What was the first one?
I think Crackdown was it. I think it was like a launch title on 360.
Yeah.
I think it came out 2 years later. They came out like in May of 2007, and I totally didn't get it because it came with the Halo 3 beta.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that these guys were pretty good at these, open world map type exploration games. Some Grand Theft Auto clones. They made Scarface, and obviously The Simpsons. So they were good at what they did. It's unfortunate that they tried to market Prototype when they did.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean it's like launching a movie when like Jurassic Park is coming out or something like that. It's like it was unfortunate, but definitely like I think a lot of people got confused with how similar those games were, at least on the surface,
Last game that they worked on, Destiny.
Oh, okay.
They were support for that. I was looking on the article about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were a talented team. They knew how to work with hardware and kind of get the most out of it. And that's the thing that I think sticks the most. That's the thing that I think makes their hockey games enjoyable, is just how fluid they are. They run at a solid. I don't think it's 60 frames per second. I think it's 30, but it looks really solid. Like it never dips below, and the action is very fluid. So they're a lot of fun. Highly recommended.